Alright, gonna hit the mics. Just chill, listen to the song for a moment. Alright.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Newsflash, asshole! I've been hearing it the entire goddamn time!
And you are welcome back to the West of Waterford podcast. My name is Josh, and that lovely thing sitting over there is Brittany.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
That's what I thought. And then comes the trackbed music, and we are off for episode... What's
is
this?
My mic on?
Your mic is on, yeah.
I guess it's just my ears are quiet.
Yeah, I don't know. Your thing's been acting up a little bit. I don't know what's...
This is live, people. Well, not live. It just means we're completely unedited.
Oh, that's working. There it is. Yeah.
If that's not clear and evident.
I can hear you. I'll bump you up just a little bit.
Well, for us, at least...
there's your problem, yeah.
Our last episode did quite well in views.
And thank you, everybody who had watched it. Give yourselves a round of applause.
So we figured, it makes sense. People on YouTube are most likely want to click on something that has a visual medium to it or media to it.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense.
We're on camera. I don't agree with it being the best angle, but we'll talk about that later, especially with your freaking arm of your mic, like putting it right into the...
We're operating off one small little webcam that I can only place in so many places.
It's like if a guy like sends you a dick pic, but he like sends it like with just down the barrel of a gun.
This down the barrel of a gun?
Down the barrel of their gun.
Down the you
that's
mean
basically what you're kind of doing. If like you were to put your arm up of that mic any higher, that's just all people are gonna see.
So it's like selfie mode, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you got a selfie stick.
Ugh.
I guess that's probably a better analogy than the whatever dick joke I was just trying to make there.
Well, to be honest with you, it's the only way you're going to see the two of us until I invest in a better camera system. But Brittany won't let me spend more money.
No, all I said is that you can just have the desk a little further out, and we just mount it to the top of the monitor, and we just sit there behind it like most people do, like on a Twitch, like on a stream.
But we are not most people. We are the West of Waterford podcast.
No,
again,
I literally wanted to sit next to you.
I don't want you sitting any closer. Social distancing, Brittany. Speaking of which, today is the day.
Is that why we don't have sex anymore?
Yes, well, no, it's for other reasons. But big day today.
Yeah.
It's been 15 days.
Since the lockdowns?
It's been 365 days since 15 days ago. And think about that.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, I don't know if I made it very clear. It's been 365 days since we were asked 15 days to slow the spread.
I mean, everybody's marking today as the day, though.
It is.
As like the major lockdowns happening.
I don't really remember it being right before a certain other day that we will talk about that I hold very dear to my heart.
Oh, it was.
But it was right before then, was it?
Yeah, because I remember the last time I had like a major hangout with anybody, it was like on March 10th or 11th, and then it was like that was the last time I went out to a bar for a really long time. I went out to a restaurant for a really long time.
I saw Myrtle.
Myrtle?
Myrtle. Yes. Well, I mean,
Close
Myrtle,
enough.
Myrtle probably died of the virus somewhere in the...
Well, she's in Canada now, and
Oh, yeah. Now I know who you're talking about. Myrtle used to be Myrtle. Oh, my goodness. Have you had any word from our friendly neighbours to the north? Any word on how
not
they're doing?
really. I just kind of follow her on Instagram and
Oh.
comment on her stories every once in a while. But yeah, COVID just came in and messed a lot of shit up.
Really threw a spanner in the works. I mean, the whole thing for me, if you want to reflect on it, I mean, this whole 15 days to slow
Just
the
say
spread.
the year. Oh yeah, 15
I mean,
days.
15 days to flatten the curve.
Okay,
as
I know
it
what you're
was.
saying. So a year ago, we were told 15 days
Yep.
to slow the curve, and that was the curve. Sorry, curd. What are we listening? Wisconsin?
Well,
Slow
I
down
don't
eating
know.
those curds, you fatso.
Yes. Boo.
Anyway, yeah, boo. Anyway.
We're 365 days in. We're still
And
wearing...
that used to be the
we're s-
goal of like flattening the curve,
Well,
and then
it
it
was.
just kept on going like more. It kept on getting more and more intense.
The original goal was 15 days to flatten the curve so that our medical institutions were not overwhelmed.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
Yeah.
We are 365 days in, and I'm still wearing a mask walking around my building in empty corridors.
Now, to be fair, we didn't like really have mask mandates until like July.
No, we pretty much had... we had that Dr. Fauci, who's now... What are we up to now, Doc? 12 masks? 13?
Yeah.
What are we up to? I mean, what stops it? You know, when something... My question is when something is like this, you see the way I'm putting my hands here? Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they're like this. You see again?
Yeah.
So I'm making kind of a crisscross pattern. There's obvious gaps.
Yeah.
That's why the masks are... they're 95% effective. But if you wear 5 of them... So you're talking about put waffles on top of each other. The holes are still there. You think it can't get through?
The holes are just gonna find
Yeah.
the holes through the other layer. And the
Exactly.
holes through the other
Exactly.
layer.
Because it's basically going to be uniform. Unless you're wearing different masks. At which point you're probably going to die from hyperventilation at a relatively low walking pace. That's the way I'd be looking at it. Plus, also, on top of that, with the masks, don't forget, very early in all of this, masks, again, Dr. Fauci, you can do your research on this. Dr. Fauci said, I don't think masks are actually, I don't think you need to wear masks. I don't think they're going to be, I think walking around a mask is a bad thing. That was what he originally said.
No,
Next
he flip-flopped very quickly, which is like...
I have seen less flip-flops on the beach.
Which is like fine, because in science it's like, oh, you find things that disprove you, and then you like say like, well, my hypothesis wasn't correct, yada yada. But like he didn't acknowledge like, well, why did you say before that they weren't? Or,
The
like,
man loves the camera. That's why he's up there every night on MSNBC, CNN, whoever you want.
because
These
he used to
mainstream
be a
media.
trusted voice across both parties.
He's
In the very beginning, he was.
You know about
and then
his
all of a
early
sudden
trust,
he
right?
was working less and less with Trump.
Yeah.
You saw him less and less with Trump, and like I don't know what. I don't know. I think you said something about with him. He's like, man, that guy's like working. Like must be like getting something from the Illuminati or something. I don't know.
I don't
what he
think
said.
I ever said anything like
No,
that.
wait, that was with Mike Pence.
Or no, I didn't. I never even said that. I
Yeah, you
very
did.
rarely bring up the Illuminati unless I'm talking about Deus Ex.
You were joking
I don't.
though.
I might have been joking. Yeah.
Like there's some sort of like. Never mind.
There's some, well, no. I mean, like.
There's some
To-
sort
to
of
be honest-
political, like how scientific
Well,
is he
of
being,
course.
or how politically
This is the most
swayed is he?
politicized thing. We didn't lock down like this for
been
SARS,
wearing- I've
bird
been-
flu. We didn't lock down for any of these massive viruses that have
Yeah,
passed.
but none of them were pandemics. Those are
No.
epidemics. Like.
Pandemic is something that is quite literally said, it's a pandemic. Now, do you have proof for that? We can prove it, but it's too new. It's too new. We don't know anything about it just yet. You didn't really know anything about any of these other things like H1N1, SARS. Really, you don't really know about these things until they kind of rear their heads. I mean, they weren't talking about the Black Plague when it first came up. We know what this is and how to fight it, and they weren't quarantining either. Now, granted, a lot of people died. I mean, it was obviously the flea. It was the flea on the rat's back. Then people thought it was the rats, so they killed the rats, and the fleas looked for new hosts, and that's how you learn. But you weren't locking down for these things. This is the first global lockdown, I think, probably in recorded history.
I think they were doing some sort of precautions because, like, I thought there was something that there's something.
There's precautions.
No,
there's
no, back
precautions,
during
but
like,
never
the
on this
Black
level.
Plague, because like there was like something kind of cool that I thought like Italy was like starting to use like systems that were used during like the bubonic plague, because they were doing like the window wine.
The whole
wine service thing.
I think we got our lunch like that before in Florence, didn't we? We got our lunch one of those hole in the walls, if you remember.
Oh, it was, but these hole in the walls are like much tinier. It's like almost like your arm would fit in with the bottle.
Well, we didn't go for wine that day, and that was the wine hole. That was the wine hole, if I remember correctly.
Anyway, they were like reutilizing for the purpose of the pandemic, which I thought was just kind of interesting.
Either way, I mean, I've had enough of it. I'm sick of it.
And according to Biden, as long as we're all good boys and girls, we can all have a small gathering in our backyards. Small gathering, mind you,
Come on, man.
of a little barbecue with our friends on
man.
July 4th.
Come on, man.
I believe the whole point of Independence Day was throwing off the shackles of tyranny. I'm not having a mealy-mouthed, mush-brained old man tell me what I'm going to do at my 4th of July. Not that I have plans, of course, yet, but it's a little far out, people, come on. But I mean, no, I mean, I'm not... Forget this. I'm done. I'm not listening anymore. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to wear this mask, because unfortunately, and this is the unfortunate kind of pigeonhole you're stuck in, you want to use some services around the place, you got to wear the mask, for the most part.
You could go in and make a ruckus, or maybe see if anybody bothers you about it.
Yeah, I can.
I mean,
and
yeah,
at my local places, I probably could, because they all know me there.
I wore a mask. I wore a mask first thing. You didn't for a really long time. You didn't until it was mandated. I wore them before because I
wasn't afraid.
Because, yeah, well, it's not about being afraid. It was just about. It literally was at that point. I was afraid. I was a little bit fearful. And I was going over to my parents' house. I was taking a lot of precautions. You
were taking off your shoes and socks.
Yeah, I was taking off my shoes before I went to their home. I'd wash my hands outside in the garage before I went in. I'd change my clothes, actually. There was a time where I was changing my clothes. Then I found out that like the changing the clothes things was like really like if you work in the health industry, or like you definitely don't wear your scrubs home.
Land of the free, huh?
So like,
and by the way,
I mean, I didn't feel like my freedoms were being infringed.
They have been. What do you mean you don't feel like they have been? They have unequivocally been.
Because at the time we were looking at possibly a bell curve of going up to like 2 million people dying. So if I figured if me doing this might help, then I'm gonna do it.
Look, let's play a little bit. Let's play a little bit of devil's advocate here.
I didn't politicize it. I tried to go.
No, you didn't.
I tried to follow.
And I didn't politicize it either. I didn't politicize it.
And for most of the time that I'm having to wear a mask, I literally do not care how effective my mask is. Now I just care about how comfortable it is, because I'm just doing it for appearances and just to get into a place of service.
Fair enough.
I really don't care. And I'm fully vaccinated too.
This is true. We spoke about this last episode.
And I mean, I got the vaccine. I don't think it's gonna do anything devastating to my body.
Well, we can only hope. Again,
if it does, then they're gonna have like the biggest lawsuit ever, all across the nation of people who got it. Like, there's no way.
What do you think? What, you're going to take on the government? I mean, the people who should be held accountable for this kind of thing are in government. They're the ones who are telling you, "Oh, go get the vaccine." Yeah, I saw something earlier about even Trump was saying to get it for his supporters. I think you should go get the vaccine. Absolutely, greatest vaccine ever. And I'm thinking, Donald, no.
But he worked really hard.
I know he did. I absolutely understand that. But here's my thing about it.
This is under an emergency situation.
I understand that, but here's my thing. Here's my thing about it. Stop. Here's my thing about it. It's a personal thing. It's a personal thing.
That.
You personally wanted to go get.
Your employer shouldn't stop you.
Well, you don't understand that. I don't think you understand that, because you said to me you thought I was a bit silly you called me a silly goose, I believe, for not getting the vaccine or not even considering it.
Well, I think it's a little bit on the edge of I think it's a little bit on the edge of conspiracy theory.
No, I don't think it's on. No, I don't believe
not get the vaccine.
No, I don't believe. Now, let me put this straight to you. I do not believe that there are but they're going to be tracking your bodies.
Like, if you want this to be over, and they might actually have travel, they might actually require records.
Excuse me. This is over when the politicians want it to be over.
That's
if you
true.
can't see that at this point, you are blind and
That's
there's nothing
true.
I can do to help you at this point. That is simply what I believe. The coronavirus has had...
Or when people want to finally get back to work.
We've had inflation. What do you mean finally want to? People wanted to get back to work
No,
a year ago,
okay,
15 days from now, a year ago.
No, people have been milking this.
Oh, I know people have been milking this. And you know what?
And the whole working from home, and some people are just like, I'll never go back into the office.
And you know what? Sometimes and here's the devil advocate part of me.
Teachers don't want to go. Some unions in the country.
Of course you don't. You're getting paid to do nothing for the most part. Not like all teachers, but because I know a lot of them are working online. I know a lot of them actually are going back into schools now.
No, I'm saying there's some unions out there that are like refusing to go back into the classroom.
Unions are not good.
They're not refusing to go
Too
back
powerful.
into the classroom. So but teachers but for the most part, people say, well, majority of teachers feel it's very important to go back in the classroom, but they're not fighting against these unions.
I do want to addendum
I was
that.
listening to because this is probably the thing that's angered me the most, especially when it comes to all the mental health ramifications of the lockdowns. And I'm not talking about the pandemic. I'm stating that the pandemic is real.
Oh, it is.
Hundreds of thousands of people, 500,000 people have lost their life. Like, I realize it's a fact. But but those numbers
Skewed.
are skewed or
Skewed.
suspicious
I-
because of all these underlying health issues. A lot of the news loves the COVID porn of like being like, well, this, and like talking about the isolated incidents that are very rare, like a young person dying from it, or a person like, whereas like the real thing is that most people have underlying health issues that like are susceptible to like dying to the flu.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And like, and the biggest thing about the pandemic has been, yes, overwhelming the hospitals is a real thing that was happening. But the other thing that's on the other hand, the other thing that's been happening that's been very negative is like people being delayed, like being treated for, or like being like getting testing or doing just regular healthcare checkups because of COVID, or because of like, yeah. So now it's like getting back to that. It's like, no, we need to start seeing like our wellness appointments, start getting into the doctors, and not neglecting
People should
other
be doing
health
that anyway.
issues.
People should be doing that anyway.
No. But
and
what I'm
believe me,
trying to say is
that's-
it was put on pause. It was put on the back burner. Like your aunt's diagnosis for her cancer. Well, it's gonna be a little bit delayed, like until we get those results.
Yeah,
like
I
it's that
understand
kind
that.
of stuff. So it's like all these
I understand that,
there's
yeah.
like all these ramifications. But the biggest thing that's been bothering me is like and I'm getting kind of serious with this, is the rate of suicides among young people because of not
Absolutely.
getting back into the classroom. There are so many school districts and schools in this country that refuse to go back to in-person schooling until the end of until next year. And you hear politicians saying that things won't be back to normal until like 2022, and like it just keeps getting like pushed out further and further. And when I start to put on my tinfoil hat is when you start to think about how like convenient this has been for like a certain group of politicians,
yes.
to want
Entrepreneurs are another one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that was my biggest.
Entrepreneurs.
That was my biggest indication. Like, oh, this is gonna last a long time. When you start seeing advertisements for like, and I think I've said this once on the podcast.
They're trying to normalize it. They're trying to normalize everything.
Normalizing it and making products and inventions based upon life now in the pandemic.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
you're like they're investing in making this shit. Like how?
By the way, first swear of the episode.
This was like a couple months like into it. Like I remember like noticing like in April, I'm like, oh wow, this is not leaving. Like,
oh, that's
it's
when you
not
first
leaving.
noticed. I knew for the second that the 15 days had been passed and the mandates started to come down. I said, all right, they just took our rights away. They're taking our rights away from us. This is a slow erosion of rights. It's like the gun lobby. Saying it's like, oh, we need common sense gun laws. The only common sense gun laws you need is that if an armed society is a polite society. Because I read one of the stupidest things I've ever seen on Twitter there the other day. These motherfuckers out there who seem to think that just because when they ain't carrying, somebody's going to roll up on them and shoot them. Bitch, how are they going to get a gun if they're illegal? Are you that stupid? Are you really that incompetent? Chicago has like the highest rates of gun violence in this country, I believe, last checked anyway. But yeah, they have the strictest gun laws, and don't give me that gun fucking loop like people go to Indiana and buy guns there and come back across state lines. It doesn't make it legal. Number one. Number two, the gun loophole has been proven to be false. Watch Crowder's video on that. Even watch that Always Sunny episode. Remember that? They showed
that's funny.
Unbelievable. It proved, I mean, in the most farcical way possible, it proved the fallacy of that argument.
But it also
and by the way, that
that
doesn't stop the gun being illegal in Illinois. You don't go into Illinois and guns suddenly go, out of your pocket, you know? They don't just like, beam me up, Scotty. And they don't do that. But no, it's just like, it's comparison. It's the erosion, anyway. It's just the erosion of your rights. They've just found a more aggressive way to do it.
And that's what I say.
This is to stop you assembling peacefully. You know, I mean, like, what did they first? We're going to leave it at this, but what were one of the first things they really shut down in gathering spaces? And just think to yourself realistically.
Churches.
Okay, churches were one. What was another thing? Restaurants.
Yeah.
Bars.
Well, and music venues. And can I just?
Well, without the music venues, but what's the correlation there between? But what's the correlation there between churches, restaurants, bars? Music venues doesn't really play into this, but what's the correlation there? Do you see anything? Maybe correlation is the wrong word.
Are you trying to say like peaceful gatherings?
Peaceful gatherings where people can actually speak and organize. You know what I mean? Like they did in 1776.
Please stop.
It's a long way out there. It's a long way out there, but I think it holds a little bit of merit. I'm just saying it.
Gyms.
Gyms, well, gyms, yeah, so that you'll be weak and sickly.
Shooting ranges.
You can shoot anywhere.
No, I know.
No, at least here you can.
No, the whole putting on your tinfoil hat about it is I don't believe so much about like that COVID was like invented.
No, it wasn't.
And like made in a lab and unleashed like a biological warfare type of thing.
I think the Chinese were plenty pissed at us to do it.
What?
I think the Chinese were plenty pissed. I mean, look, undeniably
to do what?
It came from
You're not letting me finish what I'm talking about.
All right, finish. My apologies.
The Chinese are upset about what?
No. Finish your point.
I'm just saying. I don't think
invented.
that COVID was invented for the purpose of like making us go through this crazy year that we've been going through.
All right.
I don't think it was unleashed upon us in some sort of like.
You don't.
I don't think there was like a long game. I don't think there was. I don't think that was purposeful. But I think there's been a lot of like purposeful choices made in result of the pandemic. But it is, but part of the timing is a little weird, like that it would happen during an election year.
Election year, yes.
And then
absolutely.
like things like the announcement like for the vaccine like happened like a day after election day.
Basically, yes.
And like it's just like some of the timing was like is really weird.
My view of it is.
It's just.
My view of it is, and again, you can call me tinfoil hat, but I mean, tell me where any of these kind of fall apart. China weren't happy with Trump putting the screws on them. They weren't. They made it very clear they weren't. They also had a problem with Hong Kong at the time. In late 2019, Hong Kong was trying to assert its sovereignty.
Yeah.
Around this time, just around the same time, Trump had basically put the screws on China, and China were facing a sovereign nation problem. This virus suddenly comes out of a Wuhan lab, and it can be traced back to a wet market that was near a virology unit. And it comes out. Now, they did nothing to stop flights going around the world. Did nothing to stop it. They did nothing to contain it.
Yeah, I'm saying there's been a really some poor and strange choices that have happened.
Do you call these strange choices or something? They knew at this point that Joe Biden, who's in back pocket of China at this point, he is. He's had many a dealing
The
with the
Hunter
country.
Biden story,
He's-
so covered up and not covered by anybody. It was just like, oh,
Yeah,
we're gonna
yeah, yeah.
ignore that. It's like,
You put these links together, and it's like, are you shitting me and telling me there's not something there that should be looked into? And when it's all there and said to be looked into, it's immediately debunked, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is just right wing, blurb, 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 and it's like, says who? You?
Yeah, no, it's
the
like, can
people
we-
who want this
can we not just,
to be
like-
buried?
yeah, can we not just like look into this a little further? Like,
It's
there's
like
no
the election.
there's like no honest journalism. Like, you
Oh,
can find,
God, no.
you can find plenty of like moderate or like even liberal people that were like, hey,
the
how
hell
come that
happened?
cover was, how come like we're not talking about this anymore? Like,
Shut up, that's why.
Like, literally, like, if you're in the pocket of like communist
Kidding?
China, that is like the equivalent. And I know the left is accused of always calling people Nazis in Nazi Germany and comparing things like that. But like that really is the equivalent. It's like
Yeah.
our president like is like supporting in the pocket of like Nazi Germany.
And all
Like,
and
it's just
literally
like-
you make all
like,
these links.
I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
Like that's actually
Exactly.
like a fair analogy to make, a fair comparison to
you
make, right?
you make all these links, and all they do screaming at you is this.
That doesn't even make sense.
That's all they have. Anyway, we're gonna get away from that.
This is good, but can I lighten it up a little bit?
No, we
For
are-
no, can I lighten it up? The biggest thing I've missed this year is going to
Music.
It's going to music venues. And I actually got this shirt in the mail the other day. And I don't
Ooh.
think I'm gonna be able to share it with the camera, but
You're supporting loads.
how about you
local business.
talk while let me bring the
It's
it says
It says I love AZ's independent venues.
And then it has like
Let
this
me
on
read
the
that.
back.
I love AZ's independent venues. The Rebel Lounge, the Trunk Space, the Rhythm Room, the Valley Bar. I think we've been to at least 3 of those.
Yeah, no,
Crescent
there's quite a few of
Ballroom,
them.
Celebrity Theatre, the Womack, Last Exit Live, the Nash. And in
Yep.
Tucson, who cares about Tucson?
No, we've been to a lot of
We'll
those.
move away. We'll move away from Tucson.
No, we've been to a lot of those, and all the money for this shirt went towards funding for saving our stages and stuff like that. I can't remember the exact name of the organization,
Well, that's a noble
but
cause.
like that's just kind of the lighter end. But I mean, it's those little things that do affect us that kind of have made this year so difficult. It's those little things that we
Speaking
kinda
of
take
live
for granted.
entertainment, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, March 17th. Oh, won't you be wearing green and obeying yourselves to the look of the Irish?
Guess we got a redheaded niece of mine. It's also her birthday tomorrow as well.
Oh, isn't
Which
it
is so fitting.
tidily, O'Reilly. Yes, of course, St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. And the big thing I do miss about Ireland's St. Patrick's Day is that we didn't actually have a St. Patrick's Day. We had St. Patrick's Week.
Oh yeah, go on.
I do want to tell this very, very quick story. Myself and my closest friends, I won't name them here. God bless. I hope someday I can get them on here.
Yeah.
But we used to spend the entire week drinking, smoking, and whoring. Basically. And we'd go up to one of our friends' apartments in Dublin.
Whoring.
And we would... Basically, we made St. Patrick's Day's rules. You had to drink each and every day. We had each had forfeits. Now, one of my friends, he had to wear this pervy pedo mustache for the entire week.
Mm-hmm.
My other friend had to wear a suit the entire week. He wasn't allowed to take the suit off even to go to sleep. He had to
Yeah.
sleep in the suit. The most he could take off is, I believe one of the stipulations was, if it gets too warm, he can take the suit jacket off.
Oh, I guess I should be pretending like I haven't heard this for the 13th
No,
time.
no, not at all. Because people out here haven't heard it. Mine, on the other hand, was to wear a thong all week.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
I had to wear- I had
know
to-
about the suit very well, but the thong.
I had
Wow.
to wear one of our friends, I believe her name was Becky. I had to wear her leopard skin thong. for the
Leopard
week.
skin?
It was a leopard
You mean
skin.
leopard printed?
Leopard print. Okay,
Jesus.
whatever.
Was it from the cheetahs from last week's episode?
What?
Last week's episode?
Oh,
Someone finally
no,
found
no,
those
no.
cheetahs and
No.
made a leopard skin.
Leopards and cheetahs are two completely different
Oh
species.
yeah, what the
You-
hell
you
did I just say?
Fucking. Wow.
Did I just say
Yikes.
that?
You did, you dummy. Eek.
Well, whatever.
But,
People get confused. Cheetah spots and people don't know. People
It doesn't
don't
matter.
know.
It doesn't matter.
I mean,
Basically,
I
I was
know.
wearing these things, and my balls were kind of doing a droop droop game. I
It
guess
was
you
like
could
Newton's
say.
Cradle.
It was like a game of knip-knip-knop.
You're-
It was like those things, you know, those on you see them on big CEO's desk.
That's what you said, Newton's Cradle.
That's the one, Newton's Cradle. Thank you. But we had to drink pretty much
CEO's
all
desk.
week, and we were on a budget, so we're drinking pretty bad beers. On the third day, we were so fucked up by midday. We dragged one of our friends out of the shower and tried to drag him down the stairs while there was a parade of people going down the street. He was arse naked. We tried to drag him out. Didn't quite work, so we decided our other friend, while he was taking a shower, we'd bust in on him, and we threw tomato paste at him.
Oh, you said tomato.
And flour, and it was a big like 6 hands worth of just flour, and he slipped on the tomato paste.
Yes.
And pulled the shower unit was an electronic shower unit. It's that little box thing on the wall.
Can I explain that to our viewers?
You can explain that very quickly.
Yeah, a lot of showers in Ireland are quite weird. They're almost kind of like what you would find in motorhomes or like RVs. I'm not joking. Like they're like the little tiny square showers, very very small, and then they do use like the electrical like panel, and that's like what has the heating, and it has like the little like connection to the hose of like where the faucet you can kind of remove. So it makes me it totally makes me think of like showering in a motorhome or an RV, and that's very commonplace there. So it's an electrical unit on the wall in the shower, obviously protected by plastic, but
so of course he slipped on the tomato paste because he's blinded by flour, and he pulled the damn thing off the wall, at which point we're all like, freeze, because there was actually I make no joke, no, not just wires,
sparks.
there was an electrical bolt blue as the dickens.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, and
shit.
and we were just like, stop. He finally got the flour out of his eyes, and he looked at the damage he had done, and he says, "Oh, jeez, lads, would you look at that?" And we were like, "I'm just going to use his name here." Well, no, I'm not going to use his name. I'll use it. We'll say, "Frankie, stop."
That was stupid.
Frankie, stop. And he was like, "What? Oh, it's all right, lads. I'll turn it off." And my other friend, we'll call him Jeffrey. Jeffrey says, "Frankie, water, electricity, do the math." And he was like, "Oh, right, yeah, lads. I could have been electrified." It's like, "Get out of the fucking shower, you idiot! Get out!" We were so scared. We had to call like the landlord, and this shower is like, and it was like, the landlord comes along and is like,
it's like a
and we'll
Tesla
call the other.
coil
We'll
in the
call the other
bathroom.
day. Well, we'll call the other friend Anthony. He goes.
We'll call the other
Friend Anthony. He goes, "Oh, Anthony, what have you done here, boy? What's gone on?" Oh, look at me. It was whoever it was. I've forgotten the names. But
You should have used.
But basically, by the time St. Patrick's Day actually rolled around, you have to remember we were drinking from Sunday night, straight through until the.
How old are you during all this?
21, 20, 21. Around
All right,
there,
that makes sense.
That age bracket there.
Yeah,
maybe even a little younger.
You could be irresponsible for a week.
Maybe a little younger. Yeah, I was in college, I think. I was in college. I wasn't in college that week. No, I wasn't in college. Doesn't matter. Irrelevant. But
You dropped out of college for Paddy's Week.
I did. We all did. But by the time Paddy's Day actually came, the morning came.
The tradition is to drop out of college.
Our friend in the suit, by the way, comes walking into the room with a can of Lynx, which is the equivalent of Axe.
Yeah.
Morning, lads. And we're all just like, ugh. So we have to start drinking. The day has begun. We have to start drinking. By 2:00, we're all just kind of, I think we were watching Apocalypse Now, and we're all just sitting there kind of like, lads, I don't want to go out tonight. And the other like 5 or 6 of us, including the girl, and you know we were there. No, that wasn't. It wasn't as bad as you think. She's a lesbian. She actually is. But we were all just like, yeah, we don't want to go out either. She was more mad.
Was
She
this
could
on-
handle more
was
drink
this
than any
on
of us.
St.
She was
Patrick's
like tank.
Day?
Yeah, this is on St. Patrick's Day.
That's so stupid.
We finally get out. We finally, at the end of the night, we're kind of like around 8 or 9. We're like, all right, here's the plan. We go out, but we don't go far. We don't go far. Now, there was a bar just under the railroad tracks in Drumcondra, where we lived. Where my friend lived. I forget the name of it. I think it was called Quinn's. Probably still there in North Dublin. So we decided to go there because it's close. And on the walk over, we all get our second wind. And of course, myself and the friend who nearly got electrocuted, I'm going to call him Big Bird now at this point because that was actually his nickname. She's off. But Big Bird and I managed to score a couple of skanky ladies. And I'm not even joking. Yeah, skanky ladies. So, being a gentleman, I asked her, "You got a place we can go back to?" And she was like, "Why, yes, I do." I have seen pictures from, then, and I have made great strains to have them erased from the internet, but the internet's forever. They're probably still out there somewhere. I think there might be a video out there. But it turns out that lady lived with the lady that Big Bird was going to bring back. So we all went back to their place. But the problem was, if you remember, dear listener, I was wearing a leopard print thong. And at which point I realized, awesome, I'm going back to the place with old lady. Oh dear. I'm literally... So, I have to say to her, "Excuse me one moment, dear vixen. I will be right back. I have to make use of the facilities." Run into the bathroom, take my pants off in a stall, obviously. I wasn't just doing this in front of the bathroom guy. But I took my pants off and took the leopard skin print undies off. My balls thanked me. And it's probably why they are very droopy and sad today. Oh my god, dear, my balls.
Wow, that's a juicy confession that you just made there.
Well, I mean, I've told the story many a time, but here's the thing.
Can I sing my song? I think it's only appropriate.
I didn't know. You can't because we're running low on time. I just want to finish the story and move on to Brit's bits. But the final thing I did. I
think I've done it once on the podcast, have I not?
Probably. But the final thing I did with these things was. Well, I didn't want to just leave them there, but I didn't want to take them back to our friend Becky, who had so lovingly given me them to wear for a best part of 4 days. So I did the old slingshot over the stalls, and he's like, just like, yep, into the next stall. Apparently somebody was in there because I just said, it's all I heard from the next stall. And I ran out of there and I didn't get laid. It was a terrible night. And you know what? Probably would have worked out a little more kinky if I'd kept those fucking things on. Now,
yeah.
That said, we are going to move on before you can talk about anything. And we are going to move on to the potpourri part of the show where Brittany gets to talk whatever she wants to talk about. I will let you do that again.
Thanks for taking my thing.
Well, you said I should say it though, Britt.
Did I?
Yeah, you did say that because I could say it like that.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say it again anyway.
Well, yes. This is the bit where Britt gets to do it. Britt, do your bit, please.
Hello. This is a potpourri part of the program where I get to talk about whatever the hell I want. Now, okay. I know we've been on a bit of a political slant lately, and I promise
It's cultural.
It's just cultural, as well, but definitely as well. I'm talking about the society we live in. But I gotta get out of my system, and I promise I'll be moving back to just lighter, trivial shit in the future. But I kind of want to do
Wait, you will?
Yeah.
Thank you, Daddy!
Thanks for interrupting me for that.
I apologize. I have to start your music over again.
Oh, that's fine.
There it is.
But I wanted to continue where we left off last week and kind of continue to go down that rabbit hole of the cancel culture. We talked about over a course of a few episodes. Last episode we talked about Pepe Le Pew. We talked about What else did we talk about? Pepe Le Pew.
Mr. Potato Head.
No, we
Dr.
haven't talked
Seuss.
about. No, we talked about Dr. Seuss
Dr.
and
Seuss?
Pepe Le Pew. That's what we talked about last.
Sacre bleu.
Last
this
episode.
Still cannot be.
Then we talked about, in a previous episode, we talked about the Muppets getting the disclaimer on
Yes,
Disney
that's
Plus.
true.
We have not talked about Mr. Potato Head, but since we are short in time,
No, we're good. But don't worry.
oh,
We're good. We're on video now, bro.
I
We
guess
can play this out.
I'll quickly address my thoughts on Mr. Potato Head, and they are shaped by. They are shaped
Aside from
by
Don
slash.
Rickles spitting in his grave,
I don't think Don Rickles would care.
he played Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah,
in
but I really
Toy
don't
Story.
think he would care.
I think he would.
I don't think he would care.
Anyway.
The thing is that when I saw that
LP.
headline, wow, okay,
Yeah. So
all right,
go
oh wow, okay, how are we gonna do
on. No,
this?
you're just gonna talk.
Yeah, but how are you gonna get out of
I'll be
here?
able to hear you.
All right, wow, okay, we have some small bladders on this show, I must say. Okay, so yeah, my thoughts on Mr. Potato Head are slightly shaped by, but I also very much agree with, kind of echoed my own thoughts when I was listening to Tim Pool's thoughts on the whole thing. And on the surface, yeah, I didn't really care. I didn't really give a damn. In fact, I could just see it just being a business decision on Hasbro's. Is it Hasbro that makes Mr. Potato Head? Either way, as on Hasbro's end of the deal of like just them following and trying to be a step ahead of like the trend of where society's going, so they could just sell more toys of revamping like maybe a toy that hasn't been selling as well. So that's all I chopped up to. I really wasn't offended by it. It didn't really bother me, and I'm sure there are plenty of people that were, and it was a big story, and it was very newsworthy, and I know we're a couple of weeks late to the game, but I just wanted to kind of bring it up again, because there is a bigger underlying issue to it, clearly. But like I said, out on the surface, I really didn't care about it. I'm sure there's plenty of people that were really upset by it, and there were plenty of other people that were like, hell yeah, like, gender is like a social construct, like, hell yeah to that, like, that kind of stuff. So like,
Then why do you
getting
have
rid
Miss?
of-
Why do you have
then
Mrs.
get-
Potato Head then?
Then getting rid of they do have Mrs. Potato
I know.
Head.
Then why can't you get rid of Mrs. Potato Head? Is it just Potato Head and Potato Head, but one's
No,
more
they're just
feminine?
making
How's
potato.
it work?
No, they're just making Potato Head gender neutral.
Ugh.
I don't know the extent of the new product line that I think they received some enough backlash that they're not moving forward in the same direction that they were going to upon their first announcement. But the biggest underlying issue is the tie-in to this new, and I've always said it, like a lot of this like dealing with like sexual identity and now even dealing, so from me growing up, it's been like, you know, your sexuality has been a huge issue, like gay marriage,
Yeah.
things like that. And then you kind of move into, well, like, we're talking about civil rights, like in our generation. So you have your sexual identity, and then we have gender identity now.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Gender identity now is a thing on being, now it's something that's being literally added to the 1964 Civil Rights Act. And
Now-
they're trying to make an attachment to it that now is going to be, because like, okay, race, due to that was all about like race not being segregated. Gender there are a lot of reasons, and there's a lot of reasons why there's been gender segregation. Talking about lockers, bathrooms, sports in school.
Okay.
Like even
Yeah.
schools have been have had gender segregation. That's kind of a more old school.
Do you want to see a bunch of
process.
girls getting the? I mean, oh wait, no, you can nowadays. You can see a bunch of girls getting the, well, shit beat out of them by men. Like in boxing, well, maybe not boxing, but certainly basketball. I've seen. Do you remember that thing in basketball? The 40-something-year-old who went back and joined the college team.
No,
He's
I
a
don't know what
dude.
you're talking about.
He's a dude. He's like 6'8", and he identifies as a girl. So he played for the basketball team. And those poor girls on the other team. Well, there's 3 balls on the court, and 2 of them are in their face, while the other one is sailing over them. You know, in a full palm, and he's not jumping into the basket. It's ridiculous. Are you kidding me?
I mean, yeah, and like that's another thing is like athletics, and athletics is a big issue for me too.
No, yeah,
Of there not being gender
sports in general.
segregation.
It's not segregation. It's just like
no. I mean that's literally what it. I mean that's what it is. But there's on our right. I know segregation has like a negative connotation to it.
Forget
But like
the connotation.
no, but what they're trying to add to it is that to no longer be discrimination or segregation against like your gender identity and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. And that's fine. Like.
But like okay.
To an extent.
Discrimination. Yeah, I agree with that. But there's been some reasons why things are segregated. I think there like has been a lot of research that showed that like in the UK once they allowed for like unisex bathrooms and locker rooms, that a lot of sexual assault against women had gone up in those places.
So Brittany,
there were incidences of sexual assault. So like that's why there's a whole thing about women trying to come out and be like, now we're infringing on women's rights.
Well, here's my question: how would you feel about sharing?
These are my bits. I'm kind of taking the lead
but
here.
I do want to ask you a question since you just brought up that point. It's a very good point. How would you feel as a woman who does work out? You go to the gym. How would you feel about a co-ed restroom, locker area? How would you feel about that?
A locker area, a little hesitant about.
Like
locker,
showers,
like shower
everything.
area.
We're talking about the whole, like, think about when you were in high school and it was all girls and it was all boys.
Now,
co-ed, how would you feel about that after? You'd come home and you'd shower here.
Okay, co-ed things are different, is a little bit different.
Really?
Because I don't think there's so. I mean, yes, there has been a situation where like we went to a bathroom that's been unisex, but if like if they're saying that like, oh, you identify as a woman, you may go into the women's restroom, and like you are transgender, and you do identify as a woman, like I don't feel as threatened by that as if like as like a unisex situation where like a straight man can walk into my bathroom or locker room.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not to say that means that legally a man can easily go into a bathroom and someone ask him like, why did you? Well, I identify as a woman, and they could just be, and that's the same thing that's happening.
It's already happened.
And that's like what the thing is like. Yes, and there's already things happening, especially in sports. Like I said, there has been sexual. I don't have like the numbers right off my head, but there was a lot of cases of sexual assault because of unisex bathrooms, and that's not so much the gender identity issue. That's more about just like not segregating genders in like certain situations where they should be segregated.
Okay.
Like I'm just talking about like I know segregation, like I said, has like a bad connotation to it. But there is a reason why genders are separated in some places.
It's just a word, people. Come on, get over it.
Yeah, it's just a word. So, okay, I'll say gender separation. It means something. I'll say gender separation.
No, separation's a bad word too. Segregation's a bad word. Separation's a bad word.
Anyway, but the thing about sports is that a lot of girls that like are trying to get college scholarships like are now not
destroyed.
getting them because they're getting completely obliterated by males who are trans feminine that are transitioning to being a female.
And let's face it, physically blowing them away.
Yes, I know.
Physically blowing them away.
Yes, and it's happening, and it already is happening. Like
these girls could have been blowing these guys last week, and now they're just blowing them away. Thank you very much for that crude joke, but it makes sense. But yeah, no, you're right. Scholarships are completely
and we shouldn't be having this argument about like the whole like fact that yes, men have other abilities. That's why sport. That's basically now it's infringing on women's rights to be able to have their own sports, their own area to play sports, and not be on the sidelines in their own arena, because they're being shifted out by biological males. And I know that so some people like hearing that is like so cringy, like biological males and biological females. Like, I'm sorry,
chemistry. What's
I'm sorry,
biology?
but like there are. Like, I can't believe it's controversial to say that there are two genders.
It's not controversial at all. It's just as a small vocal minority scream about it and make it controversial among their own circles. And because everything is downstream from culture, and everybody wants to be the new hip culture.
Anyway, so this whole Mr. Potato to just a gender neutral potato head is kind of just in the wake of this whole like Equality Act thing that's been going on with the gender identity issues and the consequences that come with it. Like, it doesn't mean I don't love or care about the rights of transgender or any type of gender identification. But like when it starts to infringe on the rights of other of other people, that's when you have to make sure that you're not infringing. Like, this is potentially infringing on the. And I'm a woman, so I can speak and say
There are
this
rights
is
and there are
infringing-
protections.
This is infringing on some women's rights. Like, we need to actually think about the impact of this, and like.
This isn't going to win you many friends. I'm just going to say it's going to win your friends in the right places. I'm just saying because I'm on board with what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying we need to be be a little bit more careful
you
about
have some-
what this Equality Act is actually saying. And I wasn't super prepared to talk about it
Do you know
tonight.
the weird
but, like,
thing is? You are saying something so rational, so just right, in my opinion. And even though it's just rational, and it's not even really offensive, it just is like scientifically minded. You're a scientist in your mind. I mean,
in my mind?
You're scientifically minded. You're a biology major. You were saying these things that just make logical sense, but the wrong person hears that and they go into, you're dangerous for your ideas. It's like, these ideas have existed for hundreds of years.
And I'm not
hundreds of years.
I'm not saying that like things should be like. I'm not saying that there aren't things that should maybe change for like rights of like transgender.
Look,
people.
are they people? Yes, they're people. So therefore, they have the same rights as you and I.
But I'm totally against.
There could be a couple of protections for them.
What I'm saying is like discrimination towards them, wrong.
Yeah, no, discrimination against anybody is wrong. Discrimination against anybody is wrong.
Discrimination wrong. But like having to like separate, having to like maybe separate some and still separate things into their own institutions, like women's sports and men's sports, and then having to make a more conclusive, conclusive answer to like, well, maybe transgender. So now if there should be men's, women's, trans masculine, trans feminine sports where everybody has their own field to play on.
Well, here's the thing: you don't see many trans women transferring into men.
A
going
trans
into
man
men's
is
sport.
not going to be the same as a man because
But
a trans man.
They want to be girly girls. No, they want to be girly girls. They want to be girly girls. They're not going into sports because, I mean, a part of it has to be like a woman transitions into a man, shall we say?
I'm going to stop you here.
They're not going to go into men's sports, are they? Whereas men who transition to women very often go into women's sports.
Actually, that's true. You do hear that more so of trans men going into...
Not more. I have yet to actually
trans women going into women's sports.
Yeah, I've yet to hear
the opposite
happening.
That's true.
Think about it.
That's actually very
Could you
true.
imagine seeing...
Because they have an advantage. They have an advantage.
Gee, it's almost like, for all the bullshit that is spouted...
And I know
they know.
And I
it's
know
almost
it,
like
and
they
I
know.
It sounds I know it sounds like sports. Who cares about sports? But
everybody cares about sports.
But like a lot of athletics is the number one extracurricular activity in America, and a lot of students find success, scholarships. That's just a big outlet for them, like emotionally wise as well.
Fair.
And so to like all of a sudden put a girl on the side, and I keep on using the term girl because it's true. Like you only hear about it affecting girl sports and women's rights. The Equality Act is potentially, if you look into it further, potentially impacting women's rights.
Yes, but here's the thing. I mean, I don't agree with women's rights in that sense. Now,
you don't agree with women's rights?
We're talking about the first
women's
wave.
Having their own sport, so that
we'll talk. Well, no. In that sense, I agree with it. I believe those are protections, not rights. Rights are something you have as a person. They're God-given. They're not government-given. Okay, a right is a right. A protection. Now, I believe that.
Okay, you're being semantic.
I believe a protection should be in place that women should be allowed to compete with other women. If a woman wants to compete with a man, that's perfectly fine. But that's
what was it? Serena Williams who tried to compete against like 150 place male player and he beat the crap out of her. That is perfectly fine.
But the protections,
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. But Serena Williams is she's a champion.
But when she was put against a man who was really low-rated tennis player, she got beat because that's just how much.
This is the thing we were always told in college, all right, about this.
Yeah.
We had a teacher who was very into her feminism, and she was like, and this presupposition that women aren't as strong as men, and she put up a picture of the Irish Olympic gold winning boxer, Katie Taylor. Now, we all like Katie Taylor in Ireland. We all respect her as a boxer.
Yeah, you should respect that.
We do. And that's the thing. And then she says, none of you beat her up now, would you, lads? And one of the lads actually said, well, you know, with the exact same training over a period of time, I'm pretty confident I'd beat the shite out of her.
Yeah,
At which point she was like, feminism! Feminism!
And that's the whole thing.
And I was like, what, you couldn't take that? I could beat the shit out of Number one, my reach would be massive compared to hers. I tower over her by 2.5 inches.
Okay, well, and that's the whole thing though. Like,
You know,
that's why sports are segregated by gender.
Because
if you're sitting there going there comparing Serena Williams to male tennis players, or you're always doing the you're trying to
male genitalia.
Tennis players. How does that?
Male tennis players. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, no, if you're
like, if you're constantly, that's
Yeah.
why like they have their own sports. It's
Yes.
judged only by their peers, like, which isn't just by age. Peers, as in peers, I mean by their gender, their own other women, and they're not gonna mix competition because that's not fair competition. That's
true.
why that's why it's okay sometimes when gender is segregated.
I call them protections, but segregation, let's go with that.
No, that's like literally the wording in the Equality Act. I'm not like
Joking,
I'm
of
not
course.
like making up my own words here.
I'm teasing. Do you have a little bit more for your Brits bits?
Yeah,
or?
I totally do. So
Let's give you one more Brits bit, and we'll go on from there.
all right. Well,
What's
you
your
got
next?
me really worked up because
Good,
like, you keep
good.
on like not letting me
I like
guide
you
my
worked
own
up.
bits.
I'm simply asking questions. Simply asking questions.
No, you're not.
And putting my own
All
philosophy
right, and
on
if I was, and I know we're like almost an hour into the show, but
We're
like
good.
this was like the big. I didn't even want to talk about the potato head thing. I was just mentioning that was like a recent thing that
Forget
happened.
about the potato head. What's the next you got?
Exactly. Forget
Exactly.
about the potato head, but you made me get into the potato
I
head.
didn't really have to get it.
You're a potato head, you
We're telling
Irish
we're-
cunt.
Oh, shut up. That was a sick burn.
All right. Well, among all this cancel culture shit, some of it dealing with racism, some of it dealing with gender.
Yeah.
The one that takes a cake for me is that math is racist. So
Would you like to very quickly repeat that, please?
math is racist. The woke mob is at again.
I'm out of here. Bye. Math.
Yeah.
Math.
I know,
Wait,
it
math?
defies like all logic.
Wait. Math is short for mathematics, right?
Yes, Josh, mathematics.
Proceed.
So the woke mob is at it again. So what social construct that practices white supremacy, Eurocentrism,
What?
and post-colonialism are being exposed now? Well, it's mathematics, of course.
Huh? Wait.
Mathematics is,
Yeah,
and that's
explain
why
this.
I'm phrasing it this way. What? So I kind of let the cat out of the bag early.
The cow out of the back.
The cat. The cat.
Oh, the cat. Sorry.
I'm asking you this question. What social construct that practices white supremacy, Eurocentrism, and post-colonialism are being exposed now by the woke left?
Mathematics, really?
Math.
That's yep.
So there's a educational. Stop it, please.
Sorry, Earth.
There's
Done with you. Done with you.
I'm done with you, man. So you have to. Okay. I
Okay.
think if you before we start all this, let's just all agree here. If you were to like talk to anybody, just randomly anybody in the street, and you talked and asked them, do you believe that math is racist? Do you think it practices white supremacy, post-colonialism? Do you think that this is something that needs to be addressed? I think most people are going to look at you a little cockeyed.
Like you're crazy.
Yes. To say that
Hey,
math
2
is
plus
racist.
2. Tell me why that's racist.
No, this is interesting. This is what's interesting. It makes me think of it. Isn't there a scene in 1984 where he's being told that 2 plus 2 equals 5?
2 plus 2 equals 5.
Yeah.
And if you don't see it, we'll make you.
Yeah. Which is
pain,
like
Winston,
this
the
is creepy
pain.
shit.
It
If
is
you're saying
creepy.
that math is racist, all right.
The pain,
So-
Winston, the pain.
Yeah. So a
Focus
program
on the pain.
Okay. A program known as A Path to Equitable Math Instruction. That's what it's called. It's an educational program called A Pathway to Equitable Math Instruction. Guess who it's financially backed by?
Gee, boss. Now my math ain't that good.
Okay, now you're being racist.
Possibly. I'm just doing a redneck from the South. That's what rednecks from the South sound like.
Sure, that's what you're doing.
Now I just don't have much brain about. Oh, that's better. Okay.
Yeah.
My brain ain't about me, but I would say that George Soros maybe, or the Bilderberg Group.
The Build-A-Bear?
Bilderberg, not the Build-A-Bear. The
Build-A-Bear.
Build-An-Ironberg. He's a comedian.
It's
Look him up.
financially backed by these wonderful philanthropists, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Oh, no. No.
To say that Bill Gates has been a controversial figure for the last couple of years, or a year or so, has been...
What is he doing?
Yeah. So anyway...
What is he doing? He's buying up land, and now he's saying... Just explain one more last time. Just for purposes.
We're never going to get through this.
No, it's fine. What is he doing? Just one last time. Explain his
I'm going
foundation.
to explain what this
His
is
foundation.
and what their argument against math is. Their hate against math.
Their hate against math. Oh, the thing that made him a billionaire that he was good at.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
That's a good point. That's like a really good point, actually.
Fucking hell. Oh, no, this is the equivalent of Sarah Silverman, Amy Schumer saying racist jokes, being completely uncouth, getting to their status in life.
By doing that,
and then saying, you can't do that. He's just done the same.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
He's done the same.
Don't knock the monitor.
He's done the same. Oh, I got good at what I do because of math, and now I'm a billionaire, and then math is racist. Oh, my jokes. Oh, I got...
Wow, I think you've had a little too much whiskey tonight.
Wow.
No, okay.
No, that was a mind-blowing correlation.
Josh,
wow,
that's great. That's
great.
That's
That's
great. But all I can say is, Josh, excuse me if I was a little bit irritable when you came into me while I was prepping, because I was reading an article or two about this.
Oh, this
and it was
is why you're
making me
angry.
irate. Yeah, it was making me actually really mad.
Ira? Who's Ira?
Irate?
Oh.
Mad? Isn't that a word?
Do you rate me? Woo. Okay. All right.
All right, let's move on. Okay. Now, I must admit, I only had time to really read.
So Bill Gates is
I only had time to...
Bill Gates
Can I please take charge of my own segment?
Go ahead. Sorry.
God damn it.
What to do?
Do you want this to be like an hour and a half long? Because if you keep
why not?
busting in... So, you keep asking questions and I'm going to get to the answers of.
All right.
So let me get through it and then we can discuss it.
All right, Robin.
All right, and I will admit... And like I said last week, there was an article on a research article that I feel like I needed to read because it was about the whole thing that showed the case of white supremacy in Dr. Seuss's books, illustrating that for you. And I kind of want to do the same for this math thing. I'm curious to see what their side of it is and what their case is that they're trying to present. So I only did read an article that was kind of pointing out the absurdity of it. I haven't read any pro math is racist stuff yet. So I will say my information is going to be a little bit biased because I haven't read the side that's pushing for it.
Okay.
So I'm just going to say that quick disclaimer that I only have one article that I'm basing all this information on. Can I just remind you people, we are not a news source. We are just purely sharing our opinions and talking about things.
We're just two assholes
on the internet. There's no fucking thing about fact checking us or whatever. We're not being that formal about it. But I guess I should say that I did some research, but not enough to be like
the West of
whatever.
Waterford podcast is all about discussing of ideas, the discussion of ideas. Nothing here should be representative of the actual way that Josh or Brittany view the world. We are lampooners, cultural critiques, and basically idiots. Now, enjoy the show.
Now
Brittany,
let me try and speak as intelligently as I can about this subject because I'm an expert on it. I read an article.
Do you want me to play some banjo music in the background?
No, what I'm trying to say is there's still whatever. Just everybody just relax and just listen to this because I guarantee I took the time to read more about this than you did.
You probably did. Again, why you're probably angry, and I'm about to get. I have a distinct feeling I'm going to get very angry.
Well, it was first brought to my attention on Dinesh D'Souza's podcast.
Good old Dinesh.
Dinesh.
I was thinking about drinking.
All right. Showing my influences are people that I kind of look at. I'm like, please explain to me what's going on here. All right. So supportive partners are. So once again, we know what. Okay, the program is called the Pathway to Equitable Math Instruction. It's financially backed by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Supportive partners that they already have are the Lawrence Hall of Science at UC Berkeley, California Math Project, the Association of California School Administrators, and the Los Angeles County Office of Education. So far, it's all California-based stuff. That makes sense. Among others, and it was recently sent to the Oregon teachers by the state's Department of Education. So Oregon's now reviewing it. Totally makes sense. What are the kind of wacky states that would start to buy into this ideology? California and Oregon.
I was going to say left coast.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Left coast.
Left coast.
Wrong coast.
Wrong coast.
Well, actually,
the right coast is pretty bad.
Actually,
well, apart from
each
Florida.
Coast. Apart from Florida,
the Carolinas for the most part.
The coasts are kind of
wacky.
Yeah. Anyway, well, Florida's wacky for other reasons too.
Anyway.
Some people would say that Florida's very wacky for certain reasons too. Anyway, this educational program aims to promote a socio-political turn in all aspects of education, including dismantling racism in mathematics instruction, urging America to open their eyes and see that white supremacy culture does show up in the classroom. Whenever the focus is on getting the right answer, they put that in quotes, right answer, or requiring students to show their work.
Against the left answer? What? No, go on.
Right answer means like that you're like, oh, there's a right answer? Like, how would you say there's a right answer?
In an absolute, very easily.
Yes,
continue.
I know. Continue. Can I please continue? God, I know you're getting upset about this, but let me get through it, all right? Pissed. I took the time to paraphrase this.
I'm understanding why you're pissed, by the way.
Whenever the focus, so they're saying that there's racism in white supremacy culture because, and what the actual practice that they're speaking of, just to make myself clear, is that because math focuses on getting the right answer, and it requires students to show their work, this suggests that the concept of mathematics is purely objective. This is unequivocally false. So they're saying that math isn't objective. It isn't an absolute. So
where did you get this source exactly? If you don't mind me asking. Who wrote this article?
No. I'm paraphrasing what I read, which is like paraphrasing like some of the arguments that this site is making, this program is making. And it was a town hall. It's on townhall.com, and the title of the article is "Princeton Professor: No, Math Isn't Racist, but Wokeness is Dangerous" by Guy Benson.
Well, yeah, wokeism is completely dangerous. I mean, if you're treating an absolute as not an absolute, and math is like, hey, folks, here, look at me. 2 plus 2. What does that equal? We have a word first. You want to make up another word? Okay. You want to make up another word first? That doesn't make it true. Glabgloop. So 4.
Yeah, okay.
You've just made up another word for what it is. It's 4. You're making up another word for what it is.
It's not about making up another word or anything. Just let me keep going. So the article goes on to discuss how absurd, but you're getting everybody kind of gets focused on how absurd this is. But the article starts to go on more about, importantly, how dangerous this is. How dangerous this is for the future of STEM programs in America. So a couple of things I was reading was that, the universal aspects of science and math, and the fact that there's a universal aspect of science and math, and it actually has allowed minorities, and it actually has let me start over again. And the universal aspect of science and mathematics, and how it has opened the door for many young people to come to this country and be successful because of their knowledge in science and mathematics.
Okay. So we're talking about the Asians, the Indians, the Europeans for the most part.
yeah, and then there's the other thing is that the professor goes on to just kind of dispel the fact that there is no such thing as white math.
Yeah.
Many cultures have made major contributions to the field, like all around the world, and it's like a universal concept. Like math is taught very similarly in every classroom across the world. Maybe like the methodology of how they're teaching, and like maybe like the intensity and level to what
You learn now. Yeah, basically, I get you. The intensity.
Okay, let's not like while we're talking about
Let's not
racial
stoop.
insensitivity, don't be making racist jokes.
Okay,
I'm actually trying to be kind of serious about this.
that was a joke. Come on. Right. So no, I
Because
understand.
you're kind of like defeating the purpose of us talking about this.
I can't help a joke. What can I say?
We're not trying to be funny right now. I told you once. I just need to get this out of my system, and then
You're
next
angry.
week we can talk about just silly
Fart
shit.
jokes. Okay.
Yes. Okay?
Silly shit and fart fucks.
So, yeah. So, many cultures have made major contributions to the field, and it is also very wrong to assume, and it's racist, rather, might I add, to assume that minority students aren't capable of finding the right answers.
Well, of course. Yeah.
And then overall, you're depriving. And then overall, one of the worst things is that now it looks like we're wanting to deprive students of the rigorous education that they need to succeed.
That doesn't even make sense!
Like, okay, so now you're telling me. Remember, like, okay, I just thought of this just now. I haven't actually seen the film, but like a few years ago, that film Hidden Figures came out about a team of African American women who like helped with like a couple like space missions with NASA. So now you're gonna say like that they were like practicing white supremacy?
Ugh.
Like it's just like math and science has been. How do you? It does not have any personal or like. It's just fundamental.
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
It's
flabbergasting.
flabbergasting.
It's yeah no. I 100% agree. This is crazy. This
is
mental patient stuff, by the way.
Yeah, but here's
mental patient.
But before I move on to my last dose of reality that this professor gives,
right.
I want to just give this little side note. It was actually back in early October of 2020 that the Mathematical Association of America released a statement claiming that mathematics should engage in an uncomfortable conversation about race.
What?
Where they call for a pursuit of justice within math. Now here, okay, I gotta make another note to that. That announcement was actually in relation to not math itself being racist.
Kidding me?
Not math itself being racist, but actually saying that Trump's administration of choices on some of the COVID protocols was an affront to math. Like how he wasn't
make sense.
Like how he wasn't mandating masks and other parts of the protocol that were happening that were like, this is an affront to math. Like we know these things are without a doubt the right answer. So it's kind of funny because like the Mathematical Association was saying that some of those choices were against math, which is absolute and objective. But now people are saying, well, the math itself is the problem.
Okay, allow me
So it's like, what? We don't like believe in like statistics now about COVID because like math is racist. Like I don't understand. How can you say this?
Allow me to elucidate very quickly. Hey, Brittany, who built the pyramids? Who built the pyramids?
The Egyptians or aliens, possibly.
No, the Egyptians. Yeah. How did the Egyptians build the pyramids?
No one really knows. They might have actually developed pulley systems, though.
No. What did they use in order to design and build the pyramids?
Slaves.
Math. They used math.
They used slaves.
Yes, they used slaves to construct them, but
actually,
design and build them, they used math. If math is racist, it's because of the stupid fucking country in the north of Africa that all you people out there keep harping on is the next fucking Wakanda. And by the way, I say you people, I don't mean black people or Africans. I mean stupid, guilty, white liberals. And you're not liberals, you're leftists, you're progressives, you're communists. You believe you're better than everybody else, and you believe you were put on this earth to fucking raise people up
because, they could not be possibly as good as us. Go screw your mama. Done listening to you. You try to make math racist, and this includes you, Bill Gates. Oh, I'm coming for you, baby. You tried to make an absolute into a contextual, racial thing,
social construct that promotes white supremacy.
Construct that, when it was being used by fucking
everybody
Egyptians,
on the fucking planet.
Oh, the Chinese, the Asians, those people you forget about there, you know? Those people in Asia that you somehow forget about all the time. Using math. It's white supremacy, is it? Do me a favor, if you believe math is white supremacy, drive your car at 90 miles an hour into a wall. Don't worry, math will save you if you're virtuous. That's why. Math will save you if you're virtuous. Drive your car, right now, if you're listening to this podcast, driving a car, I want you to drive it arrow first, 90 miles an hour. If you can go faster, that would be great. 90 miles an hour into a wall. The math will save you. If you're not a racist, the math will save you if you are not a racist. Okay?
Racist.
That's how math works, apparently. And I didn't even like math in school.
Oh, yeah.
And this is pissing me off.
No, honestly, if I was a kid I didn't agree with this, I mean, that would be an amazing way to get out your homework. I actually don't want to be, not only do I not want to do my math homework, I don't even want to take math class because it's racist.
By the way, if you drive your car 90 miles an hour directly into a wall at my insistence, this is not my fault. This is to protect myself. This is not my fault. You were stupid enough to do that. You were stupid enough to do that. And that's not my fault. And I relinquish. It's like when I broke up with my ex-girlfriend. If she killed herself, that wasn't my fault. My mommy told me that. My mommy told me.
Holy shit, you're getting like...
Anyway.
Okay, thanks for... Anyway.
Please finish up, because I am
great
too
stuff,
angry.
But you're,
I'm too angry.
You're getting out of control, and
I'm
literally
too angry.
very close to knocking over this new monitor that we got.
Oh.
Because you keep on almost hitting it over with a mic.
Nowhere near it.
You've been scaring me. Anyway, can I please finish this up, though, by wrapping up...
Wrap up.
A couple of quotes from the article itself. I'm not paraphrasing here, this is what it says. So here are my favorite doses of reality that this Princeton professor gives. The idea that focusing on getting the right answer is now considered among some self-described progressives a form of bias or racism is offensive and extraordinarily dangerous. Mm-hmm. The entire study of mathematics is based on clearly formulated definitions and statements of fact. If this were not so, bridges would collapse. That rhymes. Planes would fall from the sky, and bank transactions would be impossible. There is something rather, and then he goes on to say, towards the end of the article, there's something rather perfect about the woke set insisting that determining an empirically correct answer is inherently a problem, as is the concept of proving correctness by demonstrating work. So it's like that's really what we're in a war about, people, is the truth. Like, there is like a war against like what is like rational thought and reasoning. Like, you're telling me that it's incorrect. That just like that last quote is like beautiful. Like, something that's empirically correct, and you're saying that like that's racist to like have somebody like get the correct answer and then show their work of how they got to an empirically correct answer.
Brit, you have
like, yeah, it's like it's basically
wow.
it applies to like it applies to the whole woketopia concept, right? It does. It's like no, that's wrong. Well, show me why it's wrong then. Oh, well, it just is. Like, they go against logic, and then they can't show their work as to why they got to that answer anyway.
It's very
They
true.
never support their thoughts in logically based reasoning.
Brit, you have done your bit admirably.
And that's me done talking about like
you were superb tonight, dear.
The wokesters and woketopia and cancel culture shit for a while. We'll go back to some lighthearted local news next time, but I just had to get that
Phenomenal.
off of my chest and talk about that a little bit with you guys.
Phenomenal work. You were brilliant in that. You look. You
my
made
brain.
you made me angry about math.
Oh.
Okay. In a positive way, as opposed to the negative way I was always angry about math when I was a kid. Now, I do want to get to
And I'm not saying that people that were behind making some math concepts were not in history. Were probably, and if it's based around
Yeah,
Newton was a racist, so now we can't believe in the fundamental laws of physics.
The apple fell on his head, and he ate the apple instead of giving it to a poor minority
Okay,
family.
we'll stop
Shut
there.
up, stupid.
But I understand that maybe like people want to cancel, and then it's like the whole thing of erasing. It's not even that. Like that article wasn't based on like the historical aspects of who like invented these formulas. It was just the math itself is racist.
Yes.
Not the people who made it, not the people
Brilliant.
who teach it. It's just
It really is a brilliant form of mental gymnastics, really, isn't it? It's insane. It is.
2 plus 2 equals 5. Like that's welcome to this is like socialist 1984 dystopia. That's what you want?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what some people want because they're too stupid to know that that's not what they want. But anyway, we'll get into another episode now. Just before we.
No, we won't. We're done.
No. I have a few things. Well, I'll talk about it on.
Do your this week.
Yeah, I'll do it on Twin.
This was a couple weeks ago, by the way. This is 2 weeks ago.
I'll talk about it a little bit more on Twin, which is This Week in News, just starring me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, by just starring me.
You love your little acronym.
I do love my acronyms, but that'll just be starring me, Josh. Watch last episode, by the way, of Twin,
Josh.
where we talk about America being back.
America.
Okay, I'm going to turn your mic off.
Me, Josh.
I'll put your mic back on. Okay, so just before we go, Brittany, I did take a little bit of time to work this out today, and we are going to just...
We'll talk about the Grammys next week or something.
Yeah, we'll talk this. But this was a news story that really kind of interested me.
Oh.
We're
not even done? I thought we were done. God damn it.
No, we're just about done. We're just about done. I'm just putting the final music on there so I know that I get out of here. So we were talking about maybe getting a little bit of time away. I maybe said Las Vegas, whatever it was.
Las Vegas.
But did you know that a limo carrying a bridal party caught fire in Las Vegas?
I did. I saw your notes on the table.
The bride reported something burning, and the bridal party shared a good laugh about an STI joke, which kind of led to late action being taken.
I don't think that joke you're trying to make worked.
Oh, believe me, I got a million of them. Unfortunately, the doors worked, and the hearse that was in a holding pattern nearby was unneeded.
Okay, so can I just like summarize the beginning? Oh,
No, this is
I'm not
just...
quite following. I hadn't even read that before.
One groomsman won large as he had bet that the wedding would be fire. Apparently, Vegas rules allow bets on anything with few terms and conditions. You can just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down for these jokes. I'm okay with it.
Can a laugh or a non-laugh work?
How about you just... Okay. That was actually probably my worst one.
I think it's hard to like tell a story in joke form. Like if you just told me the story.
The bride was reported as being unhappy, but that might have been her general feeling since, nobody had noticed that she reportedly had resting bitch face since birth.
The strategy of joke.
You kind of laughed at that one a little bit.
No, I'm not laughing for the right reasons. Trust me.
The groom, upon hearing initial reports, was found later at a local strip club with his groomsmen. He admit, I may have jumped to a conclusion a little early. Nothing? No?
I'm so confused. If I knew what was going on in the story, and then you made jokes.
Wow, you suck at this. The groom was also quoted of saying, I thought this was a sign of God following my prayers last night. A limo catching on fire with the bridal party in it.
Yeah, I know, I get it.
Wow, you suck at this.
I don't suck at this.
You're like D trying to play that game when we played that game. Remember? And he was on his phone. Oh, I can't think of any bad movies. Just name them, you idiot. Ugh. Anyway.
That was a SoundCloud episode, wasn't it?
Yeah. The families are warring over who foots the bill for the catastrophe. The groom's family are retaining their "why break precedent" stance. You don't know what precedent means, do you?
Precedents
All right,
means like.
fair enough.
Wouldn't precedents mean that like the groom usually pays for a lot of it?
No, the
Or
bride's family
usually
pays for everything.
Yeah, sorry.
They'd
I
have
got
to
the other
pay
way
for a
around.
limo going up.
Yeah, I
Okay,
understand, but just
okay.
because I laughed doesn't mean I don't get it, honey.
It was reported they would have funded the bridal party's funeral if it had been necessary. Okay, folks, I think that's going to do it for tonight.
Holy shit!
That's going to do it, really.
It's like you're trying to tell a story like in a limerick form. Like I'm just trying to follow what's actually happened.
You're the kind of person who believes 3 + 6 is 23. Anyway, thank you very much for
6 + 9 = 69.
You're cut there.
I'm cut.
You're
My
cut
mic's not on anymore?
because I've told you about this before. So, all right, hang on, wait. That's a bit mean. Okay, so
Sorry, honey.
you're okay. So thank you very much for listening to the West Waterford podcast. We'd like to thank our new subscribers.
Yeah, give him a shout out.
I'd like to. I kind of a little bit bashful. I'd like to thank Mark on Twitter for doing
Mark
his
on
part.
Twitter.
I'd like to thank Mark on Twitter for doing his part in trying his darndest to get the attention of Compound Media with this podcast. Buddy will. Well, you can work at it. I'm not going to do it. I'm a little bit bashful, my friend. A little bit bashful. But I would like also thank Pat Oates, comedian, who left me a very nice retweet saying that he has a fan. Pat, I really hope tonight's episode didn't diminish your opinion of this show. It was a late start and I have been drinking heavily. You can understand. Can't you? Please,
It's okay to
please
try
understand.
It's okay to try a little material at the end of the show, and
Exactly it.
because
I'd like to thank.
I don't fake it.
I'd like to thank.
I won't fake a laugh for you.
I would like to thank.
Neither orgasm.
If you don't shut up, I'm going to turn your fucking mic off. How does that sound? All right.
Jesus.
I would like to thank a childhood friend of mine for actually subscribing to the channel. Colin wrote on. Colin, thank you. Really appreciate it, buddy.
I can tell. I can tell you he wasn't one of your
that means a lot to me.
stories.
I mean, that means a lot to me. Colin is the whole reason I got.
Colin. Oh, never
Colin,
mind.
yeah. Whole reason I got into radio and broadcast.
For 3 months.
No. Because we used to play GTA at a young age, and he used to put the Chatterbox station on, and that's when I realized I loved radio. But yeah, I'd like to thank all of you for subscribing, all of you for listening, all of you for watching in this case. I'm a few in, folks. Come on, give me a break here. And we will see you next time for episode 20. We're going to be up to episode 20 next time. Hopefully, I'll get another twin episode going. This Week in News with Josh, just myself. Hopefully, we'll have a Men of Monster podcast going by next Saturday.
You've been
We'll see
making that
what's going
promise
on.
for like 3
We'll see
weeks
what's
now.
going on now. And thank you very much for listening. And good night, good speed, and bye, Brittany. You out of here. Say good night.
Look at my little.
Your jiggles.
Yeah, my jiggles.
Good night.